Joseph meets his brethren by Louis Ginzberg. A large crown of gold on his head, apparelled in byssus and purple, and surrounded by his valiant men, Joseph was seated upon his throne in his palace. His brethren fell down before him in great admiration of his beauty, his stately appearance, and his majesty. They did not know him, for when Joseph was sold into slavery he was a beardless youth. But he knew his brethren, their appearance had not changed in aught, for they were bearded men when he was separated from them 205. He was inclined to make himself known to them as their brother, but an angel appeared unto him, the same that had brought him from Shechem to his brethren at Dothan, and spoke, saying, These came hither with intent to kill thee. Later, when the brethren returned home, and gave an account of their adventures to Jacob, they told him that a man had accused them falsely before the ruler of Egypt, not knowing that he who incited Joseph against them was an angel. It was in reference to this matter, and meaning their accuser, that Jacob, when he dispatched his sons on their second expedition to Egypt, prayed to God, God Almighty give you mercy before the man. Joseph made himself strange unto his brethren, and he took his cup in his hand, knocked against it, and said, By this magic cup I know that ye are spies. They replied, Thy servants came from Canaan into Egypt for to buy corn. Joseph, if it be true that ye came hither to buy corn, why is it that each one of you entered the city by a separate gate? 207. The brethren, we are all the sons of one man in the land of Canaan, and he bade us not enter a city together by the same gate, that we attract not the attention of the people of the place. Unconsciously they had spoken as seers, for the word all included Joseph as one of their number 208. Joseph, verily ye are spies. All the people that come to buy corn return home without delay, but ye have lingered here 3 days, without making any purchases, and all the time you have been gadding about in the disreputable parts of the city, and only spies are wont to do thus. The brethren, we thy servants are 12 brethren, the sons of Jacob, the son of Isaac, the son of the Hebrew Abraham. The youngest is this day with our father in Canaan, and one hath disappeared. Him did we look for in this land, and we looked for him even in the disreputable houses. Joseph, have ye made search in every other place on earth, and was Egypt the only land left? And if it be true that he is in Egypt, what should a brother of yours be doing in a house of ill fame, if indeed ye are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? The brethren, we did hear that some Ishmaelites stole our brother, and sold him into slavery in Egypt, and as our brother was exceeding fair in form and face, we thought he might have been sold for illicit uses, and therefore we searched even the disreputable houses to find him. Joseph, you speak deceitful words, when you call yourselves sons of Abraham. By the life of Pharaoh, ye are spies, and you did go from one disreputable house to another that none might discover you. The expression, by the life of Pharaoh, might have betrayed Joseph's real feeling to his brethren, had they but known his habit of taking this oath only when he meant to avoid keeping his word later. 210. Joseph continued to speak to his brethren, Let us suppose you should discover your brother serving as a slave, and his master should demand a high sum for his ransom, would you pay it? The brethren, Yes. Joseph, but suppose his master should refuse to surrender him for any price in the world, what would you do? The brethren, If he yields not our brother to us, we will kill the master and carry off our brother. Joseph, now see how true my words were that ye are spies. By your own admission ye have come to slay the inhabitants of the land. Report hath told us that 2 of you did massacre the people of Shechem on account of the wrong done to your sister, and now have ye come down into Egypt to kill the Egyptians for the sake of your brother. I shall be convinced of your innocence only if you consent to send one of your number home, and fetch your youngest brother hither. His brethren refused compliance, and Joseph caused them to be put into prison by 70 of his valiant men, and there they remained for 3 days. God never allows the pious to languish in distress longer than 3 days, and so it was a divine dispensation that the brethren of Joseph were released on the 3rd day 212, and were permitted by Joseph to return home on condition, however, that one of them remain behind as hostage. The difference between Joseph and his brethren can be seen here. Though he retained one of them to be bound in the prison house, he still said, I fear God, and dismissed the others, but when he was in their power they gave no thought to God. 213. At this time, to be sure, their conduct was such as is becoming to the pious, who accept their fate with calm resignation, and acknowledge the righteousness of God, for he metes out reward and punishment measure for measure. They recognized that their present punishment was in return for the heartless treatment they had dealt out to Joseph, paying no heed to his distress, though he fell at the feet of each of them, weeping and entreating them not to sell him into slavery. Reuben reminded the others that they had two wrongs to expiate, the wrong against their brother and the wrong against their father, who was so grieved that he exclaimed, "I will go down to the grave to my son mourning." The brethren of Joseph knew not that the viceroy of Egypt understood Hebrew and could follow their words, for Manasseh stood and was an interpreter between them and him. 2:14. Joseph decided to keep Simon as hostage in Egypt, for he had been one of the two, Levi was the other, to advise that Joseph be put to death, and only the intercession of Reuben and Judah had saved him. He did not detain Levi too, for he feared, if both remained behind together, Egypt might suffer the same fate at their hands as the city of Shechem. Also, he preferred Simon to Levi, because Simon was not a favorite among the sons of Jacob, and they would not resist his detention in Egypt too violently, while they might annihilate Egypt, as aforetime Shechem, if they were deprived of Levi, their wise man and high priest. 2:16. Besides, it was Simon that had lowered Joseph into the pit, wherefore he had a particular grudge against him. 2:17. When the brethren yielded to Joseph's demand and consented to leave their brother behind as hostage, Simon said to them, "Ye desire to do with me as ye did with Joseph." But they replied in despair, "What can we do? Our households will perish of hunger." Simon made answer, "Do as ye will, but as for me, let me see the man that will venture to cast me into prison." Joseph sent word to Pharaoh to let him have 70 of his valiant men to aid him in arresting robbers. But when the 70 appeared upon the scene and were about to lay hands on Simon, he uttered a loud cry, and his assailants fell to the floor and knocked out their teeth. Pharaoh's valiant men, as well as all the people that stood about Joseph, fled affrighted. Only Joseph and his son Manasseh remained calm and unmoved. Manasseh rose up, dealt Simon a blow on the back of his neck, put manacles upon his hands and fetters upon his feet, and cast him into prison. Joseph's brethren were greatly amazed at the heroic strength of the youth, and Simon said, "This blow was not dealt by an Egyptian, but by one belonging to our house." 219. He was bound and taken to prison before the eyes of the other brethren of Joseph, but as soon as they were out of sight, Joseph ordered good fare to be set before him, and he treated him with great kindness. 220. Joseph permitted his 9 other brethren to depart, carrying corn with them in abundance, but he impressed upon them that they must surely return and bring their youngest brother with them. On the way, Levi, who felt lonely without his constant companion Simon, opened his sack, and he espied the money he had paid for the corn. They all trembled, and their hearts failed them, and they said, "Where then is the loving kindness of God toward our fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, seeing that he hath delivered us into the hands of the Egyptian king, that he may raise false accusations against us?" And Judah said, "Verily we are guilty concerning our brother. We have sinned against God, in that we sold our brother our own flesh. And why do ye ask, where then is the loving kindness of God toward our fathers?" Reuben spoke in the same way. "Spake I not unto you, saying, Do not sin against the child, and ye would not hear? And now the Lord doth demand him of us. How can you say, Where then is the loving kindness of God toward our fathers, though you have sinned against him?" They proceeded on their journey home, and their father met them on the way. Jacob was astonished not to see Simon with them, and in reply to his questions they told him all that had befallen them in Egypt. Then Jacob cried out, "What have ye done? I sent Joseph to you to see whether it be well with you, and ye said, An evil beast hath devoured him. Simon went forth with you for to buy corn, and you say, The king of Egypt hath cast him into prison. And now you will take Benjamin away and kill him too. You will bring down my grey hairs with sorrow to the grave." The words of Jacob which he uttered, "Me have ye bereaved of my children," were meant to intimate to his sons that he suspected them of the death of Joseph and of Simon's disappearance as well, and their reports concerning both he regarded as inventions. What made him inconsolable was that now, having lost 2 of his sons, he could not hope to see the divine promise fulfilled, that he should be the ancestor of 12 tribes. 223. He was quite resolved in his mind, therefore, not to let Benjamin go away with his brethren under any condition whatsoever, and he vouchsafed Reuben no reply when he said, "Slay my 2 sons, if I bring him not to thee." He considered it beneath his dignity to give an answer to such balderdash. "My firstborn son," he said to himself, "is a fool. What will it profit me if I slay his 2 sons? Does he not know that his sons are equally mine?" 225. Judah advised his brethren to desist from urging their father then. He would consent, he thought, to whatever expedients were found necessary, as soon as their bread gave out, and a second journey to Egypt became imperative. 226.